Now, I think you guys remember that I predicted that Marjorie Taylor Greene wasn't going to move against Mike Johnson because Donald Trump was, supporting Mike Johnson, basically saying, he's a good guy, he's okay, just ignore the fact that he did not do anything that he was brought on to do, and he basically broke all of his promises. Well, looks like Marjorie Taylor Greene actually was willing to snap her hip in half in order to get it disjointed from Donald Trump's. Here, it appears that they're actually going to be moving forward and moving against Mike Johnson. So we have it here from Voice of America, of all places, a literal American propaganda source. Not a bad way, but it's just funded by the American government, like, PBS or whatever. U.S. lawmakers will vote next week on whether Speaker of the House Mike Johnson will retain one of the top leadership posts in the American government. Johnson, who has only been Speaker since last October, faces a threat from within his own party. Republican Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene called on Johnson to resign on Wednesday, saying he has betrayed the principles upheld by former President Donald Trump and the Make America Great Again movement. If he does not resign, Greene says he will call for a vote to remove him. The procedural effort known as the motion to vacate is just the latest in several chaotic efforts to replace the House of Representatives Speaker as Republicans attempt to govern with a very narrow majority. Now, despite this, the Democrats have actually said that they're going to save Mike Johnson. And this is from the Associated Press. House Democrats will vote to save Republican Speaker Mike Johnson's job should some of his fellow Republican lawmakers seek to remove him from the position, Democratic leaders said Tuesday, likely assuring for now that Johnson will avoid being ousted from office like his predecessor, from Representative Kevin McCarthy. Johnson has become under heavy criticism from some Republicans for moving forward with aid for Ukraine as part of a $95 billion emergency spending package that passed last month. It would only take a handful of Republicans to remove Johnson from the speakership if the Democratic caucus went along with the effort, which they're not going to do. Right. Democratic leaders took that possibility off the table. It says here, at this moment, upon completion of our national security work, the time has come to turn the page on this chapter of pro-Putin, okay, Republican obstructions. In a statement from the top three House Democrats, Hakeem Jeffries, Catherine Clark, and Pete Aguilar, we will vote to table Representative Marjorie Taylor Greene's motion to vacate the chair. If she invokes the motion, it will not succeed. I think this is big. Now, I will say that I actually have been talking to people about this whole situation, and one response I've heard is, well, who would be better than Mike Johnson? The answer is I don't know. I think the one person who would be better than Mike Johnson is the one guy who doesn't want the job, which is a reason why I think that he would be so good at it, is Jim Jordan. But the problem is that you have to have a way to hold people accountable for breaking their word. You can't bring in someone to do a job and then the person says, you know what? I'm not going to do what you wanted me to do, but hey, you can't find nobody better than me, so I guess you're stuck with me, boy. Like, that's not the right way to go about things. And this is exactly how we've had this whole situation in the American government, where our politicians and our representatives don't always represent us well, but we feel kind of boxed into voting for whoever, just because. I mean, this actually has many people discouraged in the American voting system because they feel like the representatives don't represent them. Now, for me, I am not really voting for anybody that I hate or that I think is not working in my best interest. I may have my own qualms with Donald Trump, but I am voting for him because there are some good things that I think he will do at the end of the day. But when it comes to the whole Mike Johnson situation, it's like this is a reflection of a greater problem where people just don't feel comfortable holding Republicans or even Democrats, but also Republicans accountable for not doing what they're brought in to do. in my opinion, Mike Johnson should be removed just for making those promises in the first place. We should get someone else in, and even if they don't do anything to push the needle in the same way of what Matt Gaetz was talking about, which I think was a very admirable effort, by the way. I'm not dinging him for this situation at all. But at the very least, we have to bring in someone who's not willing to make these promises. Don't promise more than you're willing to give, right? If you say you're going to give me $500 and then you only give me $50, I'm going to be a little bit salty. But if you say that you're only going to give me $50 and then you give me $50, I'm not going to get mad that you didn't give me $500 because you didn't promise $500. That's essentially what Mike Johnson has done, and that's why people are salty at him. Now, the Democrats are happy because he's someone that the Democrats can work with, to pass things like that $95 billion spending bill to give more money to Ukraine and more money to Israel as well. I'm glad that Marjorie Taylor Greene is trying to do something, but it's a shame that whatever it is that she's trying to do is probably not going to work or be effective. That's kind of unfortunate.